Hello everybody, and welcome back to KashCraft. My name is KashMuney, and this is episode 32. Oh my gosh, we have a day plan today. We are going to be doing our carnival to our circus. The past couple episodes, we've been working on the interior of the circus tent, and we finally have it done. And honestly, we're getting pretty close to wrapping up this mega base, which is insane. But a major obstacle standing between us and a finished mega base is doing the carnival. We need to completely fill in this terrain. Yes, we're going to have our circus as our main attraction, the funhouse as the side attraction, but we're also going to have stands and booths set up in the area around the tent, and we need to work on those today. We're also going to be adding things like a road through the center and maybe some sort of wall surrounding the circus. But I'm so excited. This is going to be a huge episode. Let's get started. Okay, first I want to add our road. This is going to provide a nice guideline and define the boundaries of our carnival, make it a little bit easier to put together. Usually I like to have a good plan coming into builds, but sometimes we just build off vibes, and this is one of those days. We know what we want. It's just about like getting those vibes right. Also, I am far too much of a perfectionist, and if I think about this too hard, then I am going to spend forever on it, which we don't have time to do today. So vibes it is. Vibe check. Oh yeah, I like that. How does it feel as a distance from the circus? I think that is good. We still have a lot of room to, add our carnival in here, but it's not going to be so cramped that we can't appreciate each of the details, so this is perfect. And I know we just started, but I need to take a break and get ready for a stream. We are going to be working on getting some of our armor trims, and that means doing some archaeology at the trail ruins. Wish me luck. Oh my gosh, I don't think that stream could have been more successful if I tried. So the trail ruin armor trims are kind of rare to get, and we got all 4 of them, but we had some extra time. So I was in a jungle, so I just stopped by a temple and got the wild armor trim. So we have 16 of 18 armor trims. On top of that, we got some friends for our petting zoo, a pair of ocelots and a pair of pandas. So yeah, that stream couldn't have gone better. Okay, anyways, let's get back to our path, and for that, we need to gather a bunch of resources, so we're gonna do that real quick. Well, we have a devastated swamp biome, but 2 shulker boxes of mud. Also, don't get me started on how frustrating it can be to get wheat. I was not built to be a farmer at Minecraft, but you gotta do what you gotta do to make your builds. Just mining some mushrooms. So with our resources, we can actually get started on this path. I think a time lapse would be a great way to do this. Without further ado, roll that time lapse. Full disclosure, my recording software got messed up, so we have a big jump in progress, but let's focus on this road first. This thing turned out so well. It's a perfect sort of trading road just running along our circus. The idea of it is that people in their caravans are going to be traveling along it, and as they go, they just come across the circus setup, and they're like, oh, we're going to park our caravan for a little while and see everything at the circus. But as for the elephant in the room, yeah, I have already gone ahead and planned out the layout of our carnival. Like I said, recording issues. So we have this blue line right here. This is going to be the walls of our circus. And then right in the middle, leading to our circus entrance, we're going to have our gates. We're going to have this nice big open like boulevard to our circus entrance. But otherwise, you can also see we have these paths going on the left side of our main boulevard, and this is where our carnival is going to be. It's just going to be a bunch of little booths and games set up, and yeah, you're just going to be able to walk around and marvel at everything going on. It's going to be busy, it's going to be fun, it's going to look amazing. And then we have this other blank area on the right side. I am not touching this episode. This is going to be our petting zoo. So all those animals that we've gotten so far from our armor trim adventures are going to go here. But yeah, worrying about that later. I guess first we can work on our paths, get these out of the way so we can have a bit more of a plan. Here is our entrance path. Here's the path to the funhouse. And there is the rest of our paths. I know today it seems like we've only done paths, which is not completely inaccurate, but right now I'm working on texturing right next to our circus. So I mean, the shadow of our circus is going to be killing off some of the vegetation directly in front of it, but then we have little patches of green between our paths and our circus. We don't have to think about this too hard. We can just toss down some bone meal and get some stuff growing. And there we go. Our circus looks much more integrated into the environment. Finally, we can get started with our attractions. I know we've done a lot of setup so far, but believe me, we needed a nice canvas before we could start making our attractions. Anyway, I've done some brainstorming and I have this book of attractions right here. here. So we have 4 categories of attractions. We have our shows, which is going to be some of our circus performers. We're going to have some games, which are going to be your classic carnival games. The food, classic carnival food, and then Minecraft marvels. These are going to be shows or displays, but using Minecraft mechanics. I'm super excited for these, so let's get cracking on those. So one issue with our attractions is that they each have very different themes. Like that book has 15 attractions. It's just a ton of different blocks and color palettes. What I'm trying to say is that we are going to have a ginormous chest monster and a lot of blocks to manage. Because of that, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. I have my creative world for KashCraft where we have many iterations of the circus tent, but I have the most current one right here, and I have already started some attractions. We're going to be building them in our creative world and then copying them over to KashCraft. We are going to build our first attraction. This attraction is based on a very classic Minecraft idea, the steep staircase. Basically, it's a collection of a seemingly random assortment of blocks that makes a staircase. Well, hang on, I need to eat the cake to make this work. Basically, you run up this wall and take like 1 step and go up 6. Of course, more cake eating. And here is our race to the stars. Nice racing attraction where you have to run up this steep staircase and then jump down onto the hay on the other side. It doesn't make sense in real life, but it makes sense in Minecraft, and I just think it is super fun. Our next one uses a lot of redstone and is definitely on the complicated side. This is one of our games. It's going to be a honey slide game where there's going to be items sliding down this wall and you have to catch them with a fishing rod. I have the redstone like 75% figured out, so I'm sure it's going to be fine. So we have the bare bones, the working concept. Basically, you push this button, it's going to start a timer, which starts releasing items, and you basically want to grab them with your fishing rod and pull them towards you in time. And it's tricky to get them, but it's possible. And yeah, for prizes, we have a bunch of food and sweet treats. After 1 round, this is what we got. Of course, this is a honey-themed game, so why don't we make this into a honey pot? Is it the best use of my time to be designing an entire mini game that we're probably only going to play once or twice? Maybe not, but it makes the carnival feel more alive and more realistic. Oh my gosh, this thing turned out so well. It is so cute. I mean, we just walk in, grab ourselves a fishing rod, push the button to get started, and there we go. We start getting items falling. I feel like it captures the feeling of our circus in general. Unnecessarily detailed and over the top. Our next booth is on the simpler side. This is going to be our milk bottle toss stand. Very classic game where you throw bags to knock over some milk bottles. Hence the name, milk bottle toss. And voila, our little milk bottle toss. We have a little sort of sign up here. We have our little spot to throw the bags at the bottles, and then some little prizes on the side just kind of scattered around. It's not a crazy booth, but nice and cute. For our next booth, we are going to play a little game. I'll give 3 hints for you to guess what this booth is going to be. Our first hint is that this person lives in their wagon but performs out of a tent. Our second hint is that our performer works one-on-one with another person when they're both seated at a table. And our third hint is that for some reason they have a skull encased in a glass orb. Any thoughts on what it might be? If you guessed the fortune teller's booth, well, you would be right. We have a very nice little tent set up right here attached to the fortune teller's wagon. They have a nice seat where they're doing a tarot card reading. They have their skull helping them predict the future. And yeah, we have a very mystical and magical space. I love the colors because they match our hot air balloon. Okay, so we're making some good progress. But for our next booth, I have actually not designed it yet. I thought we could design it together. Let's pop over to the creative world. I have this little plot of land right here. This is going to be our hammer strike game. The game where you take a big hammer and smack some sort of thing and it shoots like a little metal ball up and hopefully hits a bell at the top. So once we have these ideas, it's about figuring out how to do the important elements. And for this, the important elements are going to be the hammer and then the actual device that, you know, takes the hammer blow and shoots the metal thing upward. So for our meter, I was thinking we could do some sort of color gradient thing going up. Something kind of like this, showing the progression from, oh, you didn't hit it at all, to, oh, you hit it at the top and rang the bell. Okay, great. And then for this, it'd be fun to show it in like action, to show someone playing the game right now. So maybe we have some end rods to show where they have actually like lit up the display, and then we can have some lightning rods for the rest of the way. It was a strong attempt, but not quite to the top. Of course, at the top, we can have a little bell for when they actually do hit it all the way up. For our hammer, I think an anvil kind of has a hammer look to it. And we can have some chain for the handle. Yeah, something like that. So then we need some sort of mechanism to convert the power of the hammer swing into shooting our meter up. So we probably want something that looks mechanical. Ooh. Wait, we could use the face of the crafter to kind of shoot it upward. And I like the target block with the anvil because we get these two lines, which looks fancy. Yeah, I think that works. And actually, I think we're going to just pick this up by a block. This looks kind of weird when it's sunk into the ground. So from here, it's time to pick a color palette for this little system. Because these systems are so small, I used trapdoors in about every build to get an extra detail. So I'm going to pick one of our colors based on a trapdoor type I want to use. I think we're going to go for bamboo. And then for our second color in the color palettes, we'll go for some jungle wood and some polished tuff. So now it's just about filling our design with these blocks. And we have to remember, this is a carnival. We want it to be fun, exciting, really out there, obnoxious even. That is more than fine. And we want to have some safety precautions, make sure nobody gets hurt here. That's always important. So we can have some little fences and closed off areas. Maybe we have a little book by the side to keep track of records or attempts. And yeah, that's very much over the top, but turned out great as our little hammer strike game. Just save it to Lightmatica. From there, it's just about running around my storage system and gathering all of the necessary resources. With our resources together, we can load in our schematic and get this thing built. Yeah, that's our hammer strike game. I love how it turned out, and hopefully that gives a bit of insight into how we build each of these attractions. It's just these same couple steps over and over, and once we do it enough times, we get a bunch of awesome booths. Anyway, enough talking. We still have so many more spots to fill. Our next booth is a very classic one for our carnival, and that game is ring toss. You throw your ring and try and land it onto one of the little pole thingies in the middle. I love how we have the lights showing if you won. I think the pointed dripstone is perfect for this. And then we have our prizes along the wall again. Plus, come on, prismarine and copper, it looks amazing. We have this big hole right here. We are going to add another redstone game. So before you know it, we have our next booth done. This one is a test of your shooting skills. You'll get a bow and some arrows, and you want to shoot the bullseye of the target, and it shoots off a firework. When you do, get a light and get a prize. I'm kind of surprised I got that right away, not gonna lie. It's definitely Western themed with the two types of sandstone and birch and spruce look, and I love it. And this little avenue is coming together great. We have, 7 attractions in, and we have one more right here at the end to build before we have this entire row done. This next booth is going to be for one of our actors in the circus. Inside the circus, we have these dressing rooms. We have 9 different dressing rooms for our actors / performers, and so far we have used 6 of them. Of the ones we haven't used, we have our knife thrower, our clowns, and our juggler. So this booth is going to be a performing area for our juggler. I mean, all of our actors need some way to show off their talents. You know what? I love how this turned out. It's very different from anything else, but this idea of it is that it is a sort of open air viewing display. People walk in and just stand here and just watch our juggler do their performance. Right now they're juggling some flaming candles, but they have juggling clubs in the background, maybe some swords. This is super fun. And with that done, that completes our first row. And if we just look at it from above, yeah, that looks so cute. I just love how immersive it is and how each activity feels like its own world. But we still have another half of our carnival to do, so let's get cracking on that. Our first one's gonna go right on this corner, and honestly, it is one of my favorite and the one that I'm probably gonna use the most. So when brainstorming the contraptions, I wanted to do some Minecraft marvels, things that feel like a carnival, but use Minecraft mechanics. And for that, I wanted to do a launcher. I tried a TNT launcher, but unfortunately, it tends to blow you up in survival. So that's when I remembered we have wind charges. I believe it was Cup Fan. over on Hermitcraft came up with this little system right here. Basically, you step on this pressure plate and it shoots you like 100 blocks up in the air. I would say that feels fun and would fit well in a carnival. So yeah, we're going to be building one of these. Of course, with a few more bells and whistles to make it really fit in. And I would say we did just that. We made a little cannon sort of thing here. You just open the door, step right in, and boom, shoots you hundreds of blocks out in the air. That is so cool. Do you see why I'm going to use that attraction the most? Our next attraction is going to go right next to our launcher, and this is going to be for our second performer. This is going to be our knife thrower, and this booth is going to feel a little bit scary, but very awesome. Now, I don't say this often, but I feel like I cooked with this design. And here we go. Here is our knife throwers performing area. I love this. I love our little design on the wall. I use a fancy orange gradient with some black stone stairs and slabs to create this sort of design. We have our knife thrower throwing, knives at our board with our assistant here. Otherwise, we got little tools and have a very dark and powerful theme going on. In a place that's meant to wow you, this certainly does that, but in a totally unexpected way. This row's coming together nicely, but we have this very big spot right here, and it's weirdly shaped, so we're gonna just do one big attraction for this little corner. This is going to be our parkour game, and for it, we're doing the great outdoors, but because we're in a carnival, we're going to make it very cartoonish. And to do that, we're still using the colors of the outdoors, or selecting some blocks that don't look very outdoorsy, or at least they're trying to be outdoorsy, but they really aren't. For example, we're using green wool for the grass, light blue wool, and light blue concrete powder for the sky, a nice little waterfall, a nice stream running through this all, add in our parkour elements, aka trees, and we have this thing done. With our cartoonish scene, you start on this target block and just follow the carpets up the trees, and eventually, after some careful maneuvering, oh no, I messed it up. It's not even that hard, but I'm just bad at parkour. Eventually, you get to the end. I think our little scene fits this area very well. It's nice and simple, but much like everything else, very different. Okay, so we have this little row right here. This is kind of the back corner of our carnival, and we're just gonna make it our food booths. We're gonna make them pretty similar because, you know, they're all selling food, but tailor them to each type of food. First up, we have our funnel cake stand selling, well, funnel cakes. Here's our next food stand selling cotton candy this time. Then we have our third stand, the popcorn stand. Popcorn's kind of hard to make in Minecraft, so we had to make do. And I love the little food items above each of our booths. We have our last stand, the ice cream stand. Anyways, that's all of our food stands and fills out this weird little backstretch of our carnival. So if we just take an aerial look at everything going on, we've pretty much everything filled out except for this little island right here. So that means one more attraction. If you've been paying close attention, you might notice that we have one performer left out, or one group of performers left out, and that is our clowns. So we are going to have a little clown performance going on this little island. Of course, if we're going to have clowns, we need a nice colorful platform, maybe even obnoxious, you could say. We'll then add a little clown car for all of our clowns to back into. Finally, we can't forget our clowns putting on a show. We have some sort of spinning plate or bowl on these sticks. This guy's even balancing a flower on his head. This little island feels so fun. Plus, it ties everything together very nicely. And I lied. We have one more attraction to do. We have this space right here. I was going to make it into like a little park area, but I think it makes most sense to have another booth here. So we are going to do one more, finally. And it is done. It is a nice, simple snowball shooting game. You got to hit the bullseye. Oh, there we go. Yeah, and we get a fireworks shoot off. And that is our last attraction. That was literally 17 different builds to make this entire carnival, but these all turned out so well. I am so happy with each and every one. They just have a certain magic to them that I was really hoping to capture when building this circus. I have to say my favorite attraction is the launcher because, well, you just go flying up in the air, and that is so much fun. But these are all really special and really cool to me. Okay, so we're in the home stretch. We got these done. Now we just need to add some of the finishing details, which a very important thing is adding some vegetation around our circus. We can make sure to add vegetation and some extra paths into every nook and cranny. That way our builds look as complete as possible. And then one issue that I was noticing when we were building the booths is that they feel very disconnected, like the two rows. So I was going to add some little banners spanning between our 2 rows. Yeah, just these posts with some lines spanning between them. Add some lanterns to keep this lit at night. And then I have these hanging signs that I'm just gonna put up here. Almost kind of look like flags like we have with our circus. And yeah, it's not a huge detail, but it just makes our space feel a bit more connected. You're not just looking at the open sky, you have these little banners above you. So yeah, let's just add a couple of those. And there we go. We have our nice banners going across our path. The banners help separate each of the booths. I mean, you just have these little sections where it's one booth and then the other, and then one booth and then the other, and that's really cool. Now we have our carnival made, but we don't have a wall surrounding it, so we are going to make a ginormous perimeter wall around our circus, at least the carnival side. Like I said, I'm not worried about the petting zoo yet. We're going to be keeping our fence relatively simple. Just going to have some nice wooden posts every several blocks. We can then grow our posts up, add a light, and make them look a bit fancy. And actually, light is a super important part of this circus. I want it to look amazing during the day and at night, and ensuring it's well lit is a great way to do that. That looks kind of trippy, just having all these posts going down the road, but we can add our stuff in between our actual fencing. And then I want a chains to be part of the design so you can actually see through the fence. The idea is that onlookers are able to watch what's happening at the carnival and want to partake in it themselves, because that's show business and how you sell tickets. Although trying to place all these chains is surprisingly difficult. There's no good way to balance on them, and they have a really small hitbox. All right, how's that look? No, I messed up a segment. Oh no, I have to redo a bunch of it now. Why? It's fine, everything's fine. Okay, how's this look now? That looks a lot better, and I love this fence. It gives off the circus colors, but it's not like overly circus, and you know, you can still see inside, which is awesome. Yes, you can technically fit through the gaps, but it's more of a visual fence than anything. In real life, this would keep people out, but not in Minecraft, and that's fine. But anyways, everyone, that is going to wrap up our build today. It turned out so well. It takes our circus tent as a main attraction and just adds a little bit of life to it that it was missing. It makes it feel like some sort of event is going on rather than just a circus tent in the middle of a field. Genuinely, I've never worked so hard on a video creating so many builds. I think if you count everything up, there were 19 different build projects today, which is insane. But each of these has their own life. They really bring a special atmosphere to this circus. And I love how you can interact with so many of these games. That is something that is really important to making this circus feel immersive. Of course, we do have our frame for today, and that is going to be a little rendition of our carnival. You can spot some of the different booths throughout this, but I think this is super cute. Anyways, everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what your favorite attraction is. I have a couple. With that being said, you all are amazing, and as always, have a great day.